The 11-page text, written by noted anti-gay conservative Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, calls for Francis to resign over his alleged negligence. Vigano accuses Francis of covering up sexual abuse allegations against ex-Cardinal Theodore McCarrick in a letter that comes as multiple sexual abuse scandals again rock the Church. The letter has sown division among leaders of Catholic Church in the United States. Francis accepted McCarrick's resignation in July and ordered him to a life of prayer and penance following accusations that the cardinal sexually abused adult seminarians and minors. McCarrick, the powerful head of the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C., stepped down after an investigation by the Church concluded that claims he sexually abused a teenage altar boy were credible. Vigano's letter contains serious allegations about Francis' response to reports of McCarrick's abuse. But it also includes a screed against homosexuals, and it can be seen as a homophobic attack against Francis, who has worked to open up the Church to people who are gay or lesbian, among others who are turned away in accordance with the Church's teaching. Massimo Fagioli, a theology and religious studies professor at Villanova University, says the charges in Vigano's letter are motivated by a personal vendetta on behalf of conservative American Catholics. People are especially upset with the fact that Francis is opening the Church on sexuality and homosexuality, Fagioli tells Time. So, here you have a very cynical alliance with a cynical agenda that has nothing to do with the sex abuse crisis. Here's a breakdown of the accusations against Francis and why they are coming up now. Conservative bishops in America have voiced their support for Vigano since the letter was published on Sunday. As your shepherd, I find them credible, Strickland wrote in a statement about the allegations brought up by Vigano, according to the Times. Fagioli says the letter comes from a place of personal animus. Vigano's accusation against the Pope comes 1 month after McCarrick's resignation and weeks after a damning report from a Pennsylvania grand jury that found at least 300 priests abused more than 1,000 victims, and that church leaders worked to cover up the wrongdoing. Pope Francis declined to confirm or deny the claims by Vigano on Sunday during a press conference. He said the text, which he had read, speaks for itself, and that he trusted reporters to judge the claims in it for themselves. It's an act of trust, he said. I won't say a word about it. After word leaked that Francis was to meet with Davis, the Vatican issued a swift statement to distance itself from her. Francis then met with a former student of his, who is openly gay, before he met with Davis. He had Vigano replaced as nuncio in 2016. According to Fagioli, Vigano spent his time in the U.S. cultivating relationships with conservative American Catholics who form part of the faction that opposes Francis. Vigano and other conservative Catholics are against Pope Francis's efforts to welcome back into the Church Catholics who are gay or lesbian, or divorced and remarried, the Times reports. Conservative American Catholics have also criticized Francis for his progressive politics, including his desire to protect refugees and immigrants and stop climate change. Vigano's letter aimed to connect the issue of sex abuse in the Church with the acceptance of homosexuality by Francis, even though he has not made any definitive changes on the Church's teachings on homosexuality. The seriousness of homosexual behavior must be denounced, Vigano wrote, citing work by an academic to support his claim that homosexual networks are the reason for rampant abuse in the Church. The criticisms against Francis mark a rare moment of Catholic leaders coming out openly against the Pope.